welcome back to everyone's favorite time of the week, their Friday tea time. Here with you as always, I'm Teddy Costa, and here with me as always is...
I'm Tyler Trudeau. We are thrilled to be here. You know, Teddy will start off the show with my allotted baseball time that I am allowed to in my make-believe tea time contract. Going Richmond Spiders today. It has been a tough sled for our Boston Red Sox. I did bring this just in case, so... You know, again, never planned, always in at least some sort of thing. The fact that we both went with red was really impressive, Ted. But, you know, I'm struggling a bit with these Sox. 2 walk-off wins back-to-back. Second time they've been walked off back-to-back in the year. Man, let's talk quad ball because I do not want to talk about baseball anymore.
Yeah, I need a pick-me-up. You know, you work hard all day just to have a team that plays 162 times rip your heart out multiple times in the same 3-day stretch. So I hate that for us. The good news is we're back again, still on the air. One more week.
Might be the last
and we got a new batch of segments for the masses to love, hate, pick apart, use as motivation, all of the above. We got some good ones. This is still preseason, still like loosey-goosey on the time. So we'll do receipts before the timer. I'll throw to you for that because I don't think I have anything unless you think of something.
No, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then we'll hit a new segment called 3 Steps Forward, 2 Steps Back. So basically, we alternate laying out our predictions for whose stock we think is going to continue to rise and which players or teams we think will regress this season. And then we'll finish it up with a little back and forth on 6 over-unders for this year.
I mean, people love those over-unders last year. We did pretty good last year, if I remember correctly. But as you know, I like to have a nice revisionist history in my head. But hey, we aren't gonna mess around, and we're gonna head in receipts. And I definitely am gonna take some L's because I was an uninformed human being when I was making takes. People are saying maybe I'm coming a bit too hard at Chicago, so maybe I apologize. Matthew Troy, I am so sorry that you were in the hospital for the finals. I had no idea. I was so hyped seeing you play so well against the New York Titans that I had to go let my dog out. I missed game 1 of the finals, and by the time I came back, oh my goodness, that game really was nothing by game 2. So super apologies to Chicago. However, I must say, I am hearing that Chicago is posting fire memes in their group chat, their team chat. I have it on great authority that that Tad Walters is only posting like below par at best memes. So I don't know what's going on with Chicago. They might be a runaway for the division, but I'm a little nervous about these memes.
I love that. All right, you got anything else, Ty?
I mean, I did have to leave our golf game early due to a Red Sox rain delay. At least they won that game, and I got to see that with my mother, so that was good. But I did think I cost you a hole of golf because you drove me back to the clubhouse, which was much appreciated. Yeah,
you cost me like 1 drive. Whatever. I put down from Harry's ball and made bogey all on my own. So, you know, it happens. That's kind of the best case scenario for me.
People might be seeing more of that in the coming future, perhaps.
Yep.
So stay tuned
industry,
for that.
We call that a tease. We call that a tease right there. Stay tuned for the tea time tease.
Well, that's all I got, Ted. So if you want to start the timer, I will let you do what you do.
All right. We're going to put 14 minutes on the clock this week, and we are going to be starting now. All right, I'll go first. First step forward this season, Ryan Davis, more flag catches. This one's a no-brainer. Only had 1 catch in 6 games last season. I would expect them to be able to get to play more seeker with Charlotte being healthier and just having more time to gel. The roster coming into its own a little bit more. You also have Ricard back and should definitely help their snitch on pitch beating. Who knows? Based on how the rest of the division is performing, maybe their end game situation strategy has even changed a little bit to allow them to devote a little bit more into the flag runner game.
I mean, that sounds pretty about right. I think we were all a little shocked with Ryan's down year last year, but could definitely see it turn around. My step forward, I think, is going to be with Boston and their beater factory, if you will. But when I say Boston beaters, I'm going to leave off two very key names, and that is Max Havlin and Lulu Zhu. And that is because we are seeing new names this year coming out for the second line. We have been seeing Kieran Collier and we have been seeing Leanne Dillman hold down those spots for years in the past. It looks like it's going to be Tom DeMuth and Aaron McCready at this rate, which is a huge step. Can they handle it? Personally, I'm not 100% sure at this point. But the fact of the matter is they are going to have to be thrown into this position. It is going to be a baptism by fire, and they are either going to show up or it's going to be a very interesting season for Boston. I think there is a lot of pressure on the Boston Beater Factory to churn something else, and I think Ufuk is also going to be a big name that we'll hear a lot about this upcoming year from Boston, but it really comes down to those beaters that aren't Max and Lulu. So who is going to step up? I'm not 100% sure, but I am really thrilled to see what Boston's beater factory is going to do. They're going to need to take a step forward.
I agree with you in that it feels like there's somehow even more pressure on their beaters this year than last year. I don't know how I feel about saying Tom and Aaron aren't ready. I mean, they've been around, but overall sentiment, I agree with you, and I think it's going to have to be a big year from everyone else of that group. All right, next step forward, I have Andrew Acosta, young player out of Houston, good season last season. I'd expect his goals and assists to just about double. Based on the usage rate, I'd predict probably his turnovers too. But we don't have to think about that right now. When you lose your top three scorers and many of your primary ball handlers from last season, and Boyes, Wilkinson, and Dorsey, like, somebody's got to hold the ball and somebody's got to be taking the last shot. So I'd expect a lot more usage out of Andrew Acosta, and because of that, goals and assists way up. Wouldn't be surprised if the turnovers go absolutely bananas as well. But we'll see how the young player adjusts to a new look South.
Teddy, you and I know nothing about bad turnovers. So, I mean, maybe we'll give a slight pass. No, of course we're going to give a pass. This is going to be something that I think we may see a lot of in many different facets of this league. A lot of people are going to need to step up. We're seeing the same thing in Detroit. I've been dying to see Brian Mulcahy step his game up and take that next step as a ball handler. Turnovers are going to be a part of that. And we're going to turn over the segment to our step backs right now. That is what we call a good transition there, folks. We are going to head on down south to good old Texas with Peter Lawrence, who I think is going to take a major step back this year. They're probably going to be playing almost every single game, almost every single possession, almost every single position. However, something that I think they are going to miss truly dearly, which I personally didn't have to worry about because I had Leanne every single year after I had Max, was no more Max and Lulu. I think that is going to be a huge change for their offense, and it is not going to be as easy. The amount of easy goals Peter got that are well earned, trust me, I had plenty of those with Max. It is just going to be a huge change of how you play the sport, and I don't know if Peter's going to be ready for that, especially while coaching, especially with a low roster.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think we can both relate to the amount on your plate as a player and a coach, and it's even harder in MLQ compared to USQ. Definitely going to be tough sledding in a division that will not pull any punches against the Austin Outlaws this season. All right, steps backward for me. I have Detroit Innovators. I thought this would be obvious, but the more I focus on who's coming back to Detroit instead of one player who's leaving, the murkier it gets. That said, even if Detroit loses just one game to Minneapolis and doesn't take one off of Chicago, then they're taking a step back, which is why they belong in this segment of the show. But with all that said, like, based on how much better you and I at least expect Minneapolis to be than last year based on the roster, and how much better we think their roster will be than it was on July 20th of last year for that series where they got dog walked. I think this could even be a sweep in the other direction for the Monarchs instead of for Detroit. But Detroit showed last season that they are well coached. They're returning all of the rest of their key quadball players. They're led by a pair of up-and-coming beaters, and they're returning a player who had 5 pulls a season ago. So all this to say, I think the matchup for the second place in the North Division will be very, very interesting. But at the end of the day, if you get worse and everyone else gets better, odds are you're going to take a step back. So we'll have to see how they respond to that.
I don't know if up and coming is how we describe those two. I feel like they're here and current, but that's just me personally.
Well, talk to me when they get over the hill. Let's switch
Alrighty.
it to over-unders. I took too long, so we got to zoom through a couple of these to catch up. First one, Tessa Mullins, plus minus of 38.5. I'll give you some context. You give me your answer. I'll give you mine. 39 was top 5 in the league last season, set by Leanne Doman. It would have been number 4 in the league in 2023. She was also the division MVP. New York looks poised to potentially run the table in an even weaker East. What do you got for this?
I feel like this is like the most slam dunk over of all time. Like, right? Like, Tessa's a beast, unreal. However, doing some research, it seems like someone's missing from a roster that was just released. And I don't know, personally, I would want all MVPs on my team. So the fact that Tessa is not there, maybe something's up. So clearly Tessa is like nursing an injury, dealing with something. I don't know. Maybe in rehab for all I know. Crazy wedding, I hear. I don't know. But I got to go under because why isn't Tessa where she should be? What
No,
about you
that's
two?
true. That's true. What would the powers that be know that we don't, right? So that said, I'll take the over just for the sake of argument. I
That's
think
pretty
there's
fair.
plenty
I
of
agree.
minutes and plenty of goals on that juggernaut of a team in New York. All right, next one. I'll go and then I'll throw to you for yours. Matt Brown, 20.5 stops. 2023, which was the last time Matt Brown played, led the league in plus minus, played over 120 drives, and still only had 17 stops. For reference, in 2024, 21 stops would have been 7th in the league, and to put it in further context, Ben Schluter from Minneapolis had 25 stops in only 113 drives played. So you think really good beater, plays plenty of minutes, should be an over. I'm taking the under. I expect him to play well and the plus minus to still be up, but his play style I don't think will be conducive to stops in particular. I'd expect his partners and quad ball teammates to pick up all the stops that come out of that defense.
I mean, we know how great Matt Brown is. My one fear of wanting to take the over is, are they going to need Matt Brown to play all these stops? I don't know about that. I'm going to take the over. Matt Brown, former MVP, and I believe won that coming off of injury. So
Yeah.
healthy season, healthy year off. Hell, I need years off. I think it's going to happen. I'll go over.
All right. This next one's a fun one. Hayden Boys and Miguel Esparza combined. So combined goals, 99.5 is the line. In 2023, they combined for 100 exactly. And in 2024, they combined for 107. Now they're on the same team, and the rest of the division is worse. I'd expect boys' turnover numbers to be down for sure. Further context, San Antonio scored 181 goals last year, and I'd expect that number to be up. The loaded Outlaws in 2023 scored 222 goals. What do you got for the over-under on 99.5?
I'm going to go with the over because I feel like we've seen it before. Yes, they've done it and they're on separate teams. I understand the too many mouths to feed. But we all remember the great housing crisis of 2023. And when everyone moved to Austin because there was no housing anywhere, that was the only way. We basically saw Miguel do that with Sammy, plus a little case of Beavers action sprinkled in there. I think they can do it again. I mean, why not? They're both outstanding. Why couldn't they do it? I'm going over.
Ty, I got the why. There are too many mouths to feed on that team. There's going to be a lot of garbage time that might take them off the field in closeout situations. But when you have Milena Souza, Cat Hay, Alyssa Vialba, Jay Stewart, Luke Langlanay, David Avila, Luis Sanchez, all on that team, everybody needs to eat.
Teddy, no one plays defense in the division.
I don't think you can score 200 goals, which would be a decent projection, and have half of them come from that duo. I expect both of them to dip this season. Boys probably less than 40 goals would be my guess. All right, I didn't really go fast, so these got to be a minute each. Minneapolis 8.5 wins. What do you got?
I mean, I think that their roster has taken a big step. I think Detroit has taken their slight step back. I don't think Chicago is going to lose a game in division play. And if they do, shame on them and their bad means. Let's say they're going to go over on this. I don't know if they're going to go over Chicago in the division, but I definitely see them comfortably over 8.5.
Yeah, I have them at 9 wins for sweeping Detroit. If you're in Detroit, prove us wrong. If you're in Minneapolis, prove us wrong.
I didn't say they were sweeping Detroit.
I am.
Don't
No,
put
no, no.
words
I
in
am.
that.
I am over here. Nobody's and do the math, right? So they're sweeping everybody else, and nobody's beating Chicago. I have them at 9 wins. Prove me wrong, Detroit. All right, Lauren Smith, 29.5 goals plus stops. Last season, she had 14 goals and 15 stops, which would be 29. What do you got?
You cut out for all of that, so I'm going to need you to repeat that.
Oh, okay.
Add 10 back on the clock, Rose.
Yeah, we're going to put 30 back on the clock if you can, Rose. Thank you so much. Lauren Smith, 29.5 goals plus stops. Last season, she had 14 goals and 15 stops, which would be 29.
So I love this player. I think Lauren is outstanding. I am afraid of where the ball is going to be who's passing to her at this point. Mejio's gone. The other top ball handler's gone. That name is escaping me at the moment. And I'm the worst. Usami. I want to say umami, but I knew that was wrong. Maybe new nickname. But I don't know who's going to be passing her the ball. So I'm going to go under. I feel like maybe defensively they can take it the whole way almost there itself with not too many goals, but who's passing you the ball?
I got over on this. I know they're losing those pieces plus Bitsy Archibald, but they're going to score some goals. They have to come from somewhere, and I expect Lauren to fill the void. Also, the impact she makes on defense should not be overstated. She was the #1 ranked woman in the league among quadball players at forcing stops. Second place in that category was someone by the name of Lindsay Morella. Not sure if you've heard of her, but that sounds like a pretty good company to be in. I'll take the over on that. Last one, Lulu Zhu plus Erin McCready, combined plus minus 75.5. Last season, Lulu and Leanne, which were the top two Boston lines, had a plus minus of 86. Erin McCready had a plus minus of 35 on her own, getting third line minutes, which would have given 82 if you combine it with Lulu's. I'm setting the line a little bit lower because it was I don't know, plus minus was way different in 23 than 24. So setting the line a little bit lower. What do you got for this?
I am going to go under. I don't know who's scoring the ball.
All right. I'm also going with under. Nothing to do with Lulu and Erin, mostly to do with, again, they got to score goals to get plus minus. So I don't know about who's going to score the goals. Also, Kieran has a knack for bringing along younger beaters pretty well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they spend more time playing Jess Lee and Cleo Brooks in the regular season, which might eat into the minutes from Lulu and Erin. We went over probably if Rose could give us a fair amount of time because of the technical difficulties and not my bad clock management, we would appreciate you forever. That would be a big W for Rose. Otherwise,
Rose gets a W every week, though. Let's be
well, yeah, just a bigger one than usual.
A bigger one than usual, definitely. Definitely.
Otherwise, I think this went pretty well. What do you got, Ty?
I mean, even if we did go over, that's like mid-season form right there from us. Like, I feel like we're warming up. This is preseason. We're getting into shape. Like, people want to see us go over, but let's continue to try and respect the clock. I think we have a new thing going. I really think we were going to hit it if I just could have heard the last one. I didn't know which
it was close. It was close. Because I played it a little different once I knew.
Prior to the start, I just didn't know which one he was going to go with next. What else do you got for us today, Teddy?
Ty, like, I'm all set. Let's hope for a reverse jinx on our Sox, and just looking forward to the season, man. It's going to be a good one.
I mean, we could use some wins right now in Red Sox Nation, but until next time, that's the T. Because Tyler and Teddy said so. Have a great day, everyone.